Hey there, this is Gone Girl. This might be my last video, and I thought for my last video I would let everyone know all the things that I feel deeply guilty for along my life. When I was 15, I rehomed myself due to a predatory dad, and I ended up in a home that had the same issue. When I left that home, probably 8 months later, I left a 7-year-old little girl at risk, not thinking that in protecting myself that I was putting someone else at risk. Then when I turned 18, I was engaged to be married, and something told me not to go through with it. I didn't show up at the wedding, and the guy, Terry Houston, went and killed my friend Gail Dupuy, and then he jumped off her balcony to his death. At moving on a bit, when my daughter was 4, we were living with a family. Well, I was with a boyfriend who had 3 kids, and I had to leave for my daughter's best interest. And I always felt guilty leaving those kids behind. There was 3 other kids. Um, Moving on, when my daughter was 7, my mom and I had a fight in the middle of the night. I had told my dad to tell my mom what he did to us because she kept blaming me for leaving home. And I got a call, and because my mom said that she knew all along, that just threw me over the edge. And literally, I jumped out my 7th floor window, and that deeply affected my daughter. And a year later, I had a heart attack in my apartment due to my eating disorder. I was about 78 pounds. And that traumatized my daughter because the paramedics took me out and left her there for her to have to go look for her dad. And that was horrible. When I was a little bit older, my daughter was, I believe, 15 or 16. I was having an emotional breakdown, and I literally kicked my 16-year-old daughter out of the house, telling her I didn't care what happened to her at all, which was so not true. The very next day, I tried to tell her that I didn't mean any of it, but she didn't believe me. And just before that, I did make a second attempt to go out a 5th floor window in front of my daughter. That should have never happened. If I was in a normal state of mind, that would have never happened. To, to this day, I have never forgiven myself for anything that affected my daughter. No matter how hard I tried, I was never the best mom for my daughter, no matter how much I totally loved her to pieces. I mean, she was my world. She still is. Um, and then the accident. I feel guilty that the lady that stepped off the curb with me, my friend, that she got killed instantly, even though the accident had nothing to do with us. We literally had the light. We took one step off the curb and that was it. But I've always felt guilty that she had small kids. She died. I lived. I feel guilty that I'm not an active role in my daughter's life. I thought she understood, but she doesn't. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. My daughter's always been the world to me. I blame myself for applying to doctor-assisted suicide because I can't cope with being a burden and being useless to everybody. There's probably more that I can't put in one video, but if I could take it all back, I would. But as you know, we can't do that. We can't do that at all. What's done is done. Oh, and I also asked God in 2007 to take me instead of my sister, but instead my sister died a horrible way with ovarian cancer. And I begged God to take me instead of her, but he took her. And then in 2012, on Mother's Day, my brother contacted me, asked me for money, but he was a drug addict. And I said no. And 6 weeks later, after we found him dead in his apartment, it was written on his calendar that he did kill himself the day that I said no to giving him money. Well, that's about all the confessions I can think of right now. I just wanted people to know that I'm not perfect. I wasn't perfect. I never was. And I hope the people involved can forgive me at some point. If not, I understand it. But anyways, you guys have an awesome rest of the week and a great weekend. Everybody be good to each other. Take care. It's gone, girl. She's gone.